This story was told by the master while in the Anupia mango grove near the town of Anupia, about the elder monk Badia, the happy, who joined the Brotherhood, monk's order, in the company of the 6 young nobles with whom was Upali. Of these, the elder monks, Badia, Kimbila, Bhagu, and Upali attained to arhatship, enlightenment equal to Buddha. The elder monk Ananda entered the first path, trance. The elder monk Anuruddha gained all-seeing vision, and Devadatta obtained the power of ecstatic self-abstraction, trance. The story of the 6 young nobles up to the events at Anupia will be told in the Sukhavihari Jataka. The venerable Badia, who used in the days of his royalty to guard himself as though he were appointed his own guardian deity, came to think him of the state of fear in which he then lived, when he was being guarded by numerous guards and when he used to toss about even on his royal couch in his private apartments high up in the palace. And with this he compared the absence of fear in which, now that he was an arhat, enlightened equal to Buddha, he roamed here and there in forests and desert places. And at the thought he burst into this heartfelt utterance, "Oh, happiness! Oh, happiness!" This, the brethren, monks, reported to the Lord Buddha, saying, "The venerable Badia is telling about the bliss he has won." "Brethren," said the Lord Buddha, "this is not the first time that Badia's life has been happy. His life was no less happy in past days." The brethren asked the Lord Buddha to explain this. The Lord Buddha made clear what had been concealed from them by rebirth. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was reigning in Benares, the Bodhisattva was born a wealthy northern Brahmin. Realizing the evil of lusts and the blessings that flow from renouncing the world, he renounced lusts, and retiring to the Himalayas there became a hermit and won the 8 gifts of understanding. His following increased great, amounting to 500 ascetics. Once when the rains set in, he left the Himalayas and traveling along on an alms pilgrimage with his attendant ascetics through village and town came at last to Benares, where he took up his dwelling in the royal garden as the beneficiary of the king's generosity. After living here for the 4 rainy months, he came to the king to take his leave. But the king said to him, "You are old, reverend sir. For which reason should you go back to the Himalayas? Send your pupils back there and stop here yourself." The Bodhisattva entrusted his 500 ascetics to the care of his oldest disciple, saying, "Go you with these to the Himalayas. I will stop on here." Now that oldest disciple had once been a king, but had given up a mighty kingdom to become an ascetic. By the due performance of the rites concerning to concentrated thought, he had mastered the 8 gifts of understanding. As he lived with the ascetics in the Himalayas, one day a longing came upon him to see the master, and he said to his fellows, "Live on contentedly here. I will come back as soon as I have paid my respects to the master." So away he went to the master, paid his respects to him, and greeted him lovingly. Then he lay down by the side of his master on a mat which he spread there. At this point appeared the king, who had come to the garden to see the ascetic, and with a salutation he took his seat on one side. But though he was aware of the king's presence, that oldest disciple avoided to rise, but still lay there, crying with passionate earnestness, "Oh, happiness! Oh, happiness!" Displeased that the ascetic, though he had seen him, had not risen, the king said to the Bodhisattva, "Reverend sir, this ascetic must have had his fill to eat, seeing that he continues to lie there so happily, exclaiming with such earnestness." "Sire," said the Bodhisattva, "of old this ascetic was a king as you are. He is thinking how in the old days when he was a layman and lived in regal pomp with many a man-at-arms to guard him, he never knew such happiness as now is his. It is the happiness of the ascetic's life, and the happiness that insight brings, which move him to this heartfelt utterance." And the Bodhisattva further repeated this stanza to teach the king the truth. "The man who guards not, nor is guarded, sire, lives happy, freed from slavery to lusts." Appeased by the lesson thus taught him, the king made his salutation and returned to his palace. The disciple also took his leave of his master and returned to the Himalayas. But the Bodhisattva continued to dwell on there, and dying with insight full and unbroken, was reborn in the realm of Brahma, upper heaven. His lesson ended, and the 2 stories told, the master explained the relation linking them both together, and identified the birth by saying, "The elder monk Badia was the disciple of those days, and I myself the master of the company of ascetics.